And we are live at Dynasty Racing League TV for the DRL Fastlane Cup Series. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting installment in the Dynasty Racing League Fastlane Cup Series. Tonight we come to you from Avondale, Arizona at ISM Raceway for the Phoenix 250. This is the fourth race of the season for the Cup Series here at DRL, and what so far has been a season dominated by the likes of Anthony Burrows. With 2 poles and 2 wins already under his belt, I'm excited to see if someone can dethrone the king here tonight and make a move for a coveted win here at Phoenix. My name's Ryan Branch, and unfortunately tonight I'll be alone in the broadcast booth as our very own Martin Wenzel had to make an emergency trip and will not be able to attend tonight and possibly the next 2 races with us. But that's all right. I'll be able to take care of you guys. I could possibly be joined in the booth later by another admin at Dynasty Racing League, but we'll have to see how the race shakes out first. I'll try to keep everyone up to date on the action, catch all the on-track happenings, but please bear with me as solo broadcasting is not the easiest of feats. Thanks so much again for everybody tuning in. This should be an exciting 250 miles here. We've had quite a few cautions last night in the Grand National Series. Those cautions didn't really start until the drivers had quite a few laps on their initial tires, so we'll see if everyone's shaking out the jitters and is ready to keep the wheels under their cars this evening. We did have a lot of solo spinouts and things like that, so as the drivers go around here, set their qualifying times, we're going to see how this field shakes out. We got about 3 minutes left until that happens, and we'll try to get down for an interview with the pole sitter. Tonight's going to be really exciting, guys. Like I said last night in that Xfinity race of the Grand National Series here at DRL, we had a lot of solo spins happening. There were guys that just couldn't keep the car underneath them, really. As soon as people started to lose it to the left, they would pull the wheel back to the right to try to correct, and the car just absolutely whipped loose on them. So we're going to see if they can. They've learned anything from last night and see if they can correct that here this evening. These cars are a little bit faster, obviously. Last night we were seeing 155, 156 down the through the tri-oval, so and there was huge cuts happening in the tri-oval. Guys were cutting off the entire tri-oval like it didn't even exist, going right below that yellow line, cutting across. So we'll see if they use a similar tactic here tonight or if things are a little bit different. Hopefully I'll be joined in the booth a little later tonight. David Wellborn, who you guys see on Monday nights, he might join me a little later tonight, but he is competing in this race this evening. So we're going to see if he can keep his car healthy and stay in the race. If not, he will join us a little bit later. Next week, we are going to be back at Auto Club. We follow the exact NASCAR schedule, so there's a couple benefits to that. You guys get to see the action here at DRL the week after it happens at NASCAR, or the same week it happens at NASCAR. The NASCAR race was on Sunday. We're here on Tuesday night, bringing you the same race, but it also allows these guys to practice because the iRacing schedule follows the NASCAR schedule. So the guys get a whole week to practice at these racetracks. Hopefully all the drivers here tonight have gotten their practice in these cup cars throughout the week, and everybody's ready to go here at Phoenix. Everybody's fairly comfortable with the car at this point, and we won't have any minor silly accidents happening. Oh, I'm sorry. I had the wrong race up for the next one. So it's actually going to be 200 miles at Auto Club here. That other broadcast. For some reason, my graphics a little bit messed up there. Not showing the proper broadcast, but that's okay. We have about 10 seconds left of qualifying. We're going to see how the field shakes out. Looks like as of right now, best time on the track is posted by Eric Wolf. 27.457 it looks like, followed by Wade Hustad with a 27.465. Let's see. turn on the correct camera here. Doesn't seem to be operating the way I want it to operate, so just a second, and we'll get down here to the grid and see how these guys line up behind the pace car. Looks like we have 27 drivers turn out for this evening, so good sized field, should be an awesome race. I can't wait to get things underway. See, Eric Wolf in the number 24 car takes the pole position. I'm going to see if we can pull Eric in real quick and get a fast interview with him. Eric, you got a copy? Hey, buddy, you took the pole position tonight. Congratulations on that. How do you think you're going to fare here at Phoenix tonight? Awesome, man. I talked earlier. It's kind of been the Anthony Burrows show so far this season. This is your second race back with us in the Cup Series, and kind of had one stolen from you last week, but go out there and get him tonight, man. Good luck. And that was Eric Wolf, our pole sitter in the 24 Dunkin' Donuts car. See him there in the 24. We're going to pull up the grid. Eric Wolf starts in first. Wade Hudstad there in the number 32 on the outside of him. We got Anthony Burrows in the number 62 in third. Jonathan Swartz starts in fourth. Eric Johnson starts fifth. Kean Riley Howell. I think this might be his first race with us tonight. He is a DRL rookie. He starts in sixth. Daniel Hallis seventh. Mike Springer eighth. Chris James ninth. Dustin Musel 10th. And these guys are away already. What a quick grid that was. They got back around to that start-finish a little bit faster than I expected, but we do go green here. Wade Hustad, actually, he corrected me last week. His last name is actually pronounced Hustad. So he looked like he pulled down in front of Anthony Burrows there, but then quickly Anthony Burrows got inside of him through that tri-oval, but he does get the position back. Like I said, guys, these guys are going to cut that tri-oval off as much as they possibly can and try to make moves on the inside of one another. Nobody should be fighting too hard here at the beginning, so we'll see what happens. As Mitchell Briggs, we see there, he pulls into pit road. I don't know. He must have had a black flag maybe for not posting a qualifying time or something like that. Maybe just a stop-and-go penalty, or he's already rubbed the wall here tonight there in the number 38 cars. You see him over there on the pit box. We'll see how long his time is. If it's just over 15 or 30 seconds, he might have received the black flag. So Eric Wolf continues to lead. Wade Hustad there and Anthony Burrows following just behind him. The 58 of Jonathan Swartz there in fourth position. The fifth of Kean Riley Howell, or the fifth position, the number 10 there, Kean Riley Howell. He runs in fifth. Looks like he's keeping up with those guys okay. And then there's a little bit of a gap back there, Eric Johnson there in the number 21. Phoenix is definitely very interesting. These guys don't get up to very quick speeds. They're not all doing, you know, the typical 200 miles an hour like we've seen the rest of the season so far. We started out at Daytona where everybody's doing 200 plus. Then we move to a place like Atlanta, a place like Texas. All three of those are very, very, very fast racetracks. So Phoenix is definitely a different beast all on its own. Got 156 long laps here. Nobody's going to be getting up to 200 miles an hour and passing people at really, really high speeds. A lot of this has to do with consistency and just controlling your car into the corner, controlling when you get back into the gas as you leave the corner, And that's something Eric Wolf is very, very good at, as you see him start to pull away from the pack a little bit here. Consistency is key here, and he is one of the best at it. Go and look and kind of look at these guys' stats a little bit. Eric Wolf started in first. He's currently first. He has an I rating of 5,300. Wade Hustad, 5,700. Anthony Burrows, 4,600. Jonathan Swartz, 4,300. Kean Riley Howell, looks like he's a little out of his element up there. He's currently running in the 5th position, only 2,600 I rating, but doing very well. He started in 6th. He's already moved up 1 position. It looks like he's keeping up with the 58 of Jonathan Swartz just fine there. So we'll see if this is a night in the making here for Kean. See if he can show these higher I rating drivers what he's really made of. Eric Johnson, another driver, 5,178 on his I rating. Mike Springer, 3,200. And Daniel Hallis there, currently sitting in the 7th position, has a 2,200 I rating. So things are a little bit different now this year than they were last year in the Dynasty Racing League. Last year we had a huge discrepancy from the front of the field to the rear of the field. It kind of felt like every week it was Eric Wolf and Anthony Burrows running away with the race, which as you see them currently running in 1st and 2nd position here tonight. But they definitely have a lot stiffer competition this year. So we'll see how the race shakes out over time, see if anybody makes a mistake, rubs a wall, and if anybody can capitalize on that. We are now 9 laps in here out of 156. Eric Wolf continues to lead in the Dunkin' Donuts 24. Followed just behind by Anthony Burrows in the 62. Jonathan Swartz in the 58. Anthony Burrows overtook him just a minute ago. We're going to see if Swartz can get that back as the rear end of his car gets a little bit loose. Actually, Burrows didn't overtake him. Burrows overtook the 32 of Wade Hustad, who is now falling back 2 positions into 4th. So maybe having a little issues keeping the car underneath him. Maybe he's scrubbed off some speed and touched the wall. But these tires do go very fast here at Phoenix. So not much these guys are going to do. After 5-10 laps on the car, you're already feeling the lack of tires. The 58 there of Schwartz pulls right up on the bumper of Anthony Burrows. Is giving him a run for his money. It's going to be very difficult tonight for these drivers to make passes on the outside. The inside is definitely the way to pass, either dipping down into the tri-oval and taking the apron and just tucking your nose in there, and it's a matter of whether the car in front of you is going to let you have it or not. So you probably won't see too many crazy passes here tonight, but really, again, it's all about hitting your marks, making sure you get back into that gas at the right time, and getting the speed down the straights that you really need to capitalize. We're going to go on board here with Eric Wolf and see what it's like from inside the car. You guys hear him significantly slowing down through this corner. He lets it coast right around. And again, looks like he got in the gas just a little bit late there. He could have got it back in a little bit earlier as he stayed off that wall quite easily. You kind of want to coast right into the wall and barely touch it as he does there through that corner. But Eric Wolf surely knows what he's doing a little bit better than I do, that's for sure. Again, completely off the gas. You see him drop down to about 5,200 RPMs, and he's right back into it. Getting up to almost 8,600 RPMs there down the straight. You see him fighting the wheel. That's the driver just trying to keep the car straight. As you keep that wheel turned to the left, you can't just hold the gas. You have to fight the car back to the right and make sure your rear end doesn't get out from underneath you, or a lot of bad things are going to happen. Like I said early in this race, these guys, last night it was difficult. If anybody started to go sideways, their rear end started to move out to the right, they ended up whipping it back to the right, trying to correct and get their car straight. And a lot of wobbling that'll go on here if you let the car get away from you at all. Move back through the field. The top 3 seem pretty solid at this point, with Eric Wolf in first, Anthony Burrows in second, and Jonathan Swartz in third. Go back to Wade Hustad in 4th position in the number 32 there, the No Fear car. Awesome paint scheme he's running tonight. Kean Riley Howell looks like he's running a very similar paint scheme to Anthony Burrows there in the number 10. Eric Johnson currently sits 6th in the number 21. Mike Springers in the Butterfinger 12 sits in 7th. Daniel Hallis in the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters 72 there. Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters, for those who don't know, might be tuning in for the first time tonight, they are the sponsor of our Grand National Series as he gets passed on the inside by the 55 of Presnall. Great pass there by Chad Presnall. But Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters, they are the series sponsor for the Grand National Series on Monday nights. Tonight is sponsored by Fast Lane Complete Car Care LLC, and tomorrow night's race, the Truck Series race, will be sponsored by Winona Road. We just want to give a little shout out, give those guys credit where credit is due. Definitely not cheap to sponsor a series here. There's things that go into broadcasting costs, all the stuff you guys see on the screen, the graphics, payouts for these drivers at the end of the season. And the hosting of the races, everything does cost money. iRacing is not just a game, it is a simulator. Every time one of these races is hosted, this race costs money to use server space and host with the iRacing platform. So all of that sponsorship money does go to a great cause, gives these guys a reason to come out every week and race their hearts out, honestly. As we move back here, you guys see Chris James there in the number 82. In the Coors Light car, just behind him in the Bud Light car in the 22 of Dustin Musial. Then Chris Stouffer there in the 07, sits in 12th. And then there's a bit of a jump back to Aaron James in the number 66, followed by Blake Griffith in the 7 and Brandon Dalton in the 85. Some of the guys just have this track down pat. You can tell who's put in the practice, who hasn't, and honestly, a track like this, some of the guys just know how to race it better than others. Definitely not an easy track to get around. Like I said earlier, there's a ton that goes into the consistency, and when you're getting in and out of the gas, this track is a lot like New Hampshire, where you kind of just have to hit your marks perfect every single time. So, go back. Joseph Nover currently sits in 16th in the number 40. The 78 there, moving up to the inside of him is Mark Vega. David Wellborn there in the number 96 Valvoline car, sits in 18th position. David Wright, another jump back to the number 44 there of David Wright. He sits in 19th. Joshua Wakefield in the 35 sits in 20th. Zachary Smith in the 21st position in the 29 car. Josh Coppernall currently sits 22nd in the number 42. Our very own James Pandoff there in the number 74 car, riding that Dynasty Racing League Fast Lane Cup Series. Awesome looking paint scheme he's got on there. He sits in 23rd. And Chris Torrance currently sits in 24th position. He is now in the pits. He's currently 15 laps down. Mitchell Briggs has disconnected as well. You guys saw him pull into the pits early, so I don't know if both of them just took some damage and had to pit out and get out of the way early, but we'll go back up to the front here and see how things are shaking out as Anthony Burrows is right on the heels there of Eric Wolf. Looks like he's definitely giving him a run for his money. We are now 23 laps in out of 156. Go see what Anthony Burrows is looking at from the cockpit in here and see if he's really doing anything to get around Eric Wolf or not. You guys did see him. He let off just a little bit there. The car got a little bit loose. No way this car is easy to control right now. The tires are hurting severely. Again, these guys are definitely trying to hit their marks, but not the easiest thing to do when the car continuously wants to whip out from underneath you. Eric Wolf in the 24. Looks like he is slowly catching up to lap traffic here. He takes that nice tight line right down next to the yellow marker. Goes right up against the wall and then dives right back into the apex to get as much speed as possible as he comes down this back straight. You see these top three drivers are slowly closing in on some lap traffic. Last time by, we had a faster time posted by Anthony Burrows and Jonathan Swartz than we did by Eric Wolf, but he is out in that first position. He has clean air as of now. He doesn't have to worry about the car in front of him. He doesn't have to worry about the car behind him. He's just coasting. Right now, the thing you want to do if you're sitting in that first position like Eric Wolf, don't pay attention to the rearview mirror. Don't worry about Anthony Burrows on your bumper. It's very, very difficult to pass, especially with 26 laps on the tires of these vehicles right now. He doesn't have to worry about Anthony Burrows making some crazy move. He has to worry about not making a mistake. And it looks like that's what he's concentrating on right now as he comes up onto the 74 of James Pandolf. And we'll see if these top drivers have issues getting around lap traffic here, or see if James Pandolf just moves over and out of the way. Looks like Pandolf does move to the high side, is probably going to let the 24 and the 62 both around him. He does. It looks like the 24 might have taken that a little too cautiously as Anthony Burrows tries to close the gap there. Doesn't quite have enough for him, but Eric Wolf might have let off a little harder than he had to, hoping not to coast up into the 74 there at James Pandolf, and it looks like Anthony Burrows tried to take advantage. Didn't quite work out, but Anthony does want that position, and you see him all over Eric Wolf. Jonathan Swartz in the 58 also gets around the 74, followed by Wade Hustad. Gets around quite easily, and then we go back to the 10 here of Kean Riley Howell. He is currently sitting in 5th. Hot on his trail is Mike Springer in that number 12 Butterfingers car. Mike Springer, we've seen quite a showing as he goes to the inside line here. See if he can get around the number 10 of Kean Riley Howell. Kean gets the better run out of the corner. That's not the typical driving we see from Mike Springer. Normally he likes that high line. He likes to hang out up there near the wall, and maybe Phoenix just doesn't allow for it here. As you see him try to take that inside line inside of Kean, doesn't quite work out. We'll go back up front here as Anthony Burrows makes the move to the inside of Eric Wolf. We'll see if Eric can get the run out of this corner, but there is lap traffic directly in front of him. This is not going to be easy. I have a feeling Eric Wolf's going to get pinched up here behind the lap car. Lap car does go extremely high. Oh, and he touches the wall there in the number 23 car. Very close call. Both drivers do get around safely, and Eric Wolf maintains that first position. Not the 23, or that was a 29 there of Zachary Smith. Let's go back and try to watch that. Yeah, as he just coasts right into the wall there, trying to stay out of those guys up front. He now has quite the wrinkle in the hood of the 29 shell car. It looks like that slowed him down quite a bit, but you know, that's the price you pay when you start to get lapped. You do want to stay out of the way of these other drivers. Not necessarily do you want to let them go, but when there's somebody coming up on your rear as fast as Eric Wolf and Anthony Burrows, you do definitely want to get out of their way. These top 4 drivers all right on each other's tails. First, second, and third nipping at each other's heels. Just behind them, Wade Hustad there in the 32 No Fear car. As they continue to move through lap traffic here, we have now gone green for 33 out of 156 laps. We're going to have to see when these guys decide to come in and pit. We're about 1/5 of the way through the race as of now. We'll see what pit strategies look like here. I don't think many of these drivers really expected to go green as long as they have this early. Probably expected early caution flag to come out. You see the 58 there if Jonathan Swartz wiggles a little bit. They probably expected an early caution, and they might have fought the car a little harder than they should have and maybe scrubbed off a little too much of their tires, and maybe that's why we see the likes of Anthony Burrows catching up to Eric Wolf here. He might have gotten out a little early, tried to give it a run for his money, and expecting the caution, and then it hasn't come out, so Anthony Burrows continues to take that inside line. A reason you won't see a lot of these drivers diving down to the apron here at Phoenix is it upsets the car quite a bit. When you go on, as soon as you hit that apron, one of your wheels is spinning much faster than the other one, because the other one catches just a little bit of air, and it can upset the car quite a bit. Same thing happens when you head back up onto the track off of the apron, so a little bit of a chance it looks like Anthony Burrows is taken by running down onto the apron every time, but It's allowing him to stay right on Eric Wolf's bumper and keep the pressure on the 24. Awesome racing so far by these guys. I kind of want to move the camera back in the field and look at some of the other drivers, but there's too much action here up at the front. These three guys are all over one another, and at any time, somebody makes the slightest mistake, and there's going to be a pass. If not, an accident with the tires and the condition that they're currently in. We currently see last lap, Eric Wolf ran a 27.933, followed by Anthony Burrows with a 27.872. And Jonathan Schwartz with the 27.881. So Eric was the slowest out of the three of them. But again, not easy for them to make a pass. They are currently about a second and a half, second and 2/3 off of the pace at the beginning of the race. So actually, I'm sorry, that was their best lap that I was telling you. So Anthony and Jonathan Schwartz have both run a better best lap, but right now they're running about 29.5s as compared to the 27.933. So they are, yeah, a second, 1.6 seconds or so off of where they started at the beginning of this race. Tires definitely affecting the car a little bit. Honestly, I would have expected a little bit more fall off as far as time goes around the track with almost 40 laps on their tires now. It makes you wonder. I know these guys aren't running low on fuel, but how long are they going to stick out there on these older tires and attempt to continue make it around this track without losing control of the vehicle? A lot of these guys up towards the front probably hoping for somebody in the rear to make a mistake. Definitely everybody's working very, very hard to keep control of the car right now, and some of our less experienced drivers, no way it's easy for them driving out there, and the difference in lap times is just going to grow as this race goes on. You see David Welborn there in the number 96. He does come down pit road, making his pit stop. Again, he's, I would say, in the Cup cars, no offense to David, but one of the less experienced, especially on a track like this. It's 100% about consistency. He takes about a 23-second pit. He was running towards the rear of the field. He currently sits in 23rd position. Definitely not easy. He can't, keep the car under him with those old tires, and he comes down to get fresh ones. As these two in the front continue to battle. Both cars got loose there as they exited that corner. The 58 looks like he's kind of just cruising behind them. Keep things straight and hopefully capitalize on an accident or a mistake by one of these top two drivers. You now have Eric Wolf in the 24 catching up to the 44 there of David Wright. David Wright currently sits in the 18th position, so we only have 18 drivers on the lead lap. As these guys slowly catch up to David Wright there, he will quickly make it 17 drivers on the lead lap if they can get around him. You see Zachary Smith now comes down into pit lane. There in the number 29 car, he currently sits in 22nd position. So all these guys definitely feeling the heat of Phoenix here on the tires, not able to maintain control of their cars for too long. Some guys definitely pitting early, getting tires just so they feel comfortable in the car. At a certain point, you're gonna come down pit road because you just don't feel comfortable driving the car at the speeds these guys are driving them around the track, and you don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to be that guy who wrecks out and wrecks multiple people out behind you. So as we now go back to 4th position, we see Wade Hustad has finally caught up here to the number 58 of Jonathan Schwartz as he's fallen back a little bit off of Eric Wolf and Anthony Burrows. Hustad fought his way back up. He was about a 10th faster on the last lap there than the 58 of Jonathan Schwartz was. Looks like he might be making a move to try to capture 3rd position. Zachary Smith must have contacted the wall at some point. You see there he did take 55 seconds or so down pit road, so... These top 4 drivers, it looks like there's just so many laps on the tires now. Not even Eric Wolf can get around David right there in the 44. These guys are now over 2 seconds off of the pace from where they were when they started with fresh tires. So we see maybe some of these guys that are coming in for these early tires will be able to capitalize a little bit and get some precious time back. And just hope for a caution to come out after 15 or 20 laps or so and see if they can make up a few positions before there. As you see, Joseph Nover, he just finished 15.37 seconds there on pit road. Daniel Hallis in the 12th position. He pulls down pit road. Now see Eric Wolf and Anthony Burrows do get around the 44 of David Wright, who cuts it very close with Anthony Burrows. They're almost getting into the rear of the 62.
Spectacular race we're having there, Mr. Branch. What do you think?
Hey everybody, welcome Tater Bowman to the booth. Hey man, it's been an awesome race, really. Eric Wolf, Anthony Burrows, Jonathan Schwartz, Wade Hustad, all of these guys keeping these cars underneath them. I can't believe we've been green for 52 laps, man.
10-4 on that with the track temp and everything going on. These guys are really keeping these machines under them. I don't know how they're keeping 1,100 horsepower disengaged to the track surface, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, definitely a little bit different than it was last night. I was telling everybody earlier, you know, once the car does get loose, it's very easy to snap it back to the right and cause a catastrophic event on the racetrack, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a 10-4, and I saw a couple of them up here in the booth get in race control get a little sideways, but they've been able to manage, so looks like we're cycling through some green flag stops at this point.
Yeah, a lot of these guys coming down early. I was talking earlier, maybe, you know, if they come down early enough, they might be able to make up enough laps, hope for a caution after 15 or 20 on their fresh tires, and hope that the leaders are still out there running on the old ones, and maybe they can make up a few positions, stay out, and capitalize on those early pit stops.
Yeah, it's a 10-4. These top 5 guys, man, they've really got this joint figured out, that's for sure.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you for joining me up in the booth. Good luck race controlling down there. It's definitely going to get more exciting than it's been so far. These drivers are driving awesome, but we're going to see some cautions, and I have a feeling we're going to see quite a few of them in a row as these guys get anxious to make up positions.
That's 10-4, man. Thank you for inviting me up here, and good luck tonight, all right?
All right, man. Take it easy. Oh, here we go, guys. We see Anthony Burrows moving down to the inside there of Eric Wolf. Oh, again, car gets loose on Anthony Burrows. Can't quite keep it. Gets very loose. Now, the 62 lost a ton of time on Eric Wolf there. Look, he tried to make that move. Didn't work out for him. And now you see, what is that? I think that's the 74 of James Pandolf moves to the inside of Eric Wolf. He's trying, or moves to the inside of Anthony Burrows, trying to get a lap back here as he goes to the outside of Eric Wolf in the 24 there. So those fresh tires definitely making a difference now. Even less seasoned drivers, they're making it work. Those newer tires just make all the difference. We see some people coming down pit road. Kean Riley Howell there. He 15.33 seconds. Chad Presnell, who was in 7th when he came down pit road in the 55. He is on pit road now. We're going to see how long Eric Wolf and Anthony Burrows stay out here. These guys continue to fight this green flag. Oh my gosh, this is absolutely crazy. Chad Presnell, David Wright both come down pit road. David looks like he's about halfway through his pit stop already. James Pandolf approaches the 82 Coors Light car. That is the 82 of Chris James. He currently sits in 11th position. So now you have Eric Wolf and Anthony Burrows headed to the inside of the 82 there. The 82 is in 11th, which now they have put the top 10 drivers are the only drivers left on the lead lap. You see Eric Johnson in the 21 there, approaching Eric Wolf in the 24. He has already pit and got fresh tires. Aaron James is down pit road. Chad Presnell is coming off of pit road. I can't believe these guys are still out here on the old tires that they are, and there's so much change-up going up on this track right now. The 58 we see of Jonathan Schwartz, who was running in 3rd or 4th position for so long. Oh, and now we have Anthony Burrows in the 62. Looks like he's finally coming down, followed just behind him by Wade Hustad. Comes down pit road. So they weren't able to stay out long enough to lead a lap in front of Eric Wolf. Doesn't look like Eric Wolf wants to give anybody a thing here. If he's going to give a lap lead, it's definitely not going to be to the likes of Anthony Burrows. We'll see if Mike Springer can stick out and capture that 1 lap lead if we get Eric Wolf coming down for some tires and fuel, but he does not want to give Anthony Burrows a single lap lead. He doesn't want to give him the bonus points. He continues to stay out. Blake Griffith makes a very fast pit stop, currently sitting in 17th position of 14.83 seconds. Anthony Burrows with a 15.53, and Wade Hustad looks like he might have had a little trouble getting into his box, or maybe needed a second or two of repairs with a 17.47 there on pit road. They'll pull out in 11th and 12th position, respectively. And it kind of makes you wonder, as we have a couple more drivers come down pit road and get their first pit stop, how long is Eric Wolf going to stay out here? Because he's going to have drivers nipping at his heels. So long as he stays out on this track, we see there the 40 is right on his tail, Joseph Nover in 16th position in the Pennzoil car. And some of these drivers are definitely a little bit less experienced. So, you know, I talked earlier about not driving out of your rearview mirror, but at some point you have to get a little bit nervous and wonder how long he wants to stay out there and keep seeing these guys approaching in his rearview mirror, especially the ones who do know how to drive the car and they are on much fresher tires than he is. Mark Vega just left pit road. He had an 18.68 second pit stop. And the thing that absolutely amazes me, guys, right now, Eric Wolf, Mike Springer, and Christopher, the only three, Chris James in the 82 car, Joshua Wakefield, Josh Coppernall, they're the only ones that have been out there this entire time on these original tires that we started the race on. So you see right now, Joseph Nover only has 16 laps on his tires, and it took him a solid 3, 4, 5 laps just to get around Eric Wolf there in the 24. Blake Griffith takes off pretty quick. The 10 car of Kean Riley Howell currently sits in 6th position. He gets around Eric Wolf. He's now back on the lead lap, and I have a feeling as Anthony Burrows comes around Eric Wolf here on the outside that Eric might be pulling down pit road here anytime. You know, I say that, and at the same time, he could turn this into a fuel issue. So right now we're sitting on lap 68 out of 156. If Eric Wolf can make it till about the, I don't know, I'd say 78 lap point, 10 more laps, he can run the rest of the race on the same tank of fuel. So that might come into play a little bit later in the race. Who knows when he's really going to pull down. As you now see, Wade Hustad goes around him on the outside. It looks like at this point, if Eric Wolf has stayed out as long as he has, he is definitely playing the fuel game right now. Currently just behind him, over 3.5 seconds behind him actually, is Mike Springer there in the number 12 Butterfinger car. He currently sits in 2nd position. Just behind him is Christopher in the 07 Hooters car. He is coming across to begin lap 70. So all these guys, they got 70 laps on their tires. I imagine they're waiting until around lap 78, cut this race in half, and continue to go green. And as impressive as we've seen things so far tonight, guys, I still can't believe we've ran green as long as we have. But if it continues in the way that it has, you might see this this fuel strategy pay off for Eric Wolf. Really all you need right now, currently sitting in 4th, is Eric Johnson in the 21. He has 17 laps on his tires. Jonathan Schwartz in the 58 has 15 laps on his tires. Kean Riley Howell has 13 laps on his tires. And Anthony Burrows, who waited, looked like Anthony Burrows was kind of running him and Wade Hustad both, currently sitting 7th and 8th position. Looks like they waited quite a bit of time to stop and get fuel, maybe expecting Eric Wolf, Mike Springer, Christopher, and all these other guys who were out here on the 72 laps. Maybe, you know, he planned to stay out there with them, and then the car kind of started to get away from him. He wasn't comfortable driving it, so he came down pit road. He currently sits with 9 laps on his tires, him and Wade Hustad both. So we're going to see. I don't think they can go the rest of the way, especially if they're not comfortable in the car. And if we go green the entire time, Eric Wolf is definitely, you know, him and Springer will have the advantage. But you now see Eric Johnson, Jonathan Schwartz. Both have gotten around Christopher in the 07. So they've caught back up with their fresher tires already. Definitely a ton of things going through the minds of the pit chiefs, the pit crew, the drivers out on this track. How well they think they can maintain their car, and you know, how long they think they can go green. Honestly, that's what it's going to come down to, is how long does this green flag keep running, and if and when that first caution comes out, who is it going to help and who's it going to hurt. Now see Eric Wolf being passed by a whole bunch of people. Looks like Mike Springer there, and the number 12 got around Eric Wolf. I'm not sure what happened to Eric. Springer is doing awesome on these old tires. Him and Eric Wolf have the same exact pit strategy. They've both been out there for 76 laps, so you know, maybe Mike Springer, maybe I'm sure he knows that Eric Wolf's been out there the whole time. But I don't think Eric Wolf knows he's been out there the whole time. As the 24 continues around the track, he definitely ran about a 0.8 seconds slower than Mike Springer did. So, you know, now that I see, you know, Mike Springer coming down pit road here, he was headed on to lap 78 as he makes his entrance into pit road. I'm wondering if these guys are starting to run out of fuel. Or maybe that's why Wolf was so much slower on that last lap. He might have been cutting the car off. He might have been taking it easy on the car to try to conserve a little bit of fuel. And only time's going to tell. I'm now talking to a couple people. We see Eric Wolf is coming down pit road, finally coming in to get those tires that he desperately needs. It looks like, I think Josh Coppernall did the same thing, so he's been out there the entire time. Right now, the 35 of Joshua Wakefield has been out there for 78 laps on those same tires, so 4 drivers. We're going to see what happens. You know, maybe Josh Coppernall will get the move up. Maybe the 35 of Joshua Wakefield's going to get some positions off of this. If this thing goes green the entire way, it's going to be really exciting to see what these guys can do if they have enough fuel to make it around. It's going to be awesome. Going to go back up front here to Eric Johnson, and the number 20 currently leads the race. He's got 28 laps on his tires. Jonathan Schwartz in the number 58 just on his heels. He has 26 laps on his tires, so very equal cars they have out there right now. We're going to see what happens. You know, the 2-lap or the 2 pit stop strategy or the 1 pit stop strategy, which one actually works out as the very last driver to pit. Joshua Wakefield there in the number 35 currently sits in 19th position. He comes down pit road. Finally, the last driver coming in to get their tires. And we do have guys like Joseph Nover here in the number 40 car. He currently sits in 13th position, has a little bit of damage on the front of his car, but he is now 33 laps into his tires. As, you know, the very last driver on that first green flag run comes down pit road. It looks like Joseph Nover is already halfway to another pit stop. So, again, we're going to see how this plays out. Currently, our top 7 drivers all have more than 20 laps, if not 30 laps on their tires at this point. But Mike Springer in the number 12, he sits in 8th position. He's got some fresh tires on that car. He currently only has 5 laps on his tires as he moves past the 32 of Wade Hustad. But Hustad had him lapped. So Mike Springer's got some battling to do. We'll see if the two pit strategy works out, or if you know, just the 1 pit stop is going to pay off for Eric Wolf and Mike Springer here. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to focus here on a couple of the top drivers. I'm going to leave the camera just as it is for a few minutes. Follow these guys around the track. We've had 86 out of 156 exciting laps already here at Phoenix. at ISM Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. And I can't wait to come right back with you in the action. I'll be back in about 2 to 3 minutes. Enjoy, guys. I am back, ladies and gentlemen. You guys see, there's a huge mix-up all over the track. Some of these cars have much fresher tires than the others. Nobody really knows who behind them has fresher tires than they do. A lot of these guys have to avoid driving out of the rearview mirror, run their line, and let the cars behind them get around. Otherwise, we're going to have some pile-ups coming up here soon. We currently ride along here with Jonathan Schwartz. He is in first position. He moves to the inside of the 44 there of David Wright. See if he can get around him here in the 44. He has 38 laps on his tires. Just behind him, you see Anthony Burrows nipping at his heels here in the number 62 car, just on the heels of the 58. You see the 58 gets a little bit loose. Anthony Burrows has 31 laps on his tires. So 7 laps fresher tires. But really, 7 laps here at Phoenix doesn't mean a whole lot. Once you get up into 20, 30 laps on your tires, looks like Anthony Burrows kind of wanted to make a move, but the 58 didn't give him a whole lot of room down there towards the apron. And if you do touch that apron going through that corner, you're going to get your car sideways real quick. And just behind them, Eric Johnson in the number 21. Everybody's getting loose. Great job by all of these drivers to make the moves that they have. It's absolutely impressive to watch everybody go around this track. We are now 95 out of 156 laps. It's gone completely green the entire time. Anthony Burrows gets the nose in underneath the 58 there of Jonathan Schwartz. Oh, it looks like he wanted to make the pass so bad, as you now have the 24 of Eric Wolf nipping at both of their heels. Eric has much, much fresher tires, but he is currently a lap behind these guys. So not only does he have to make the pass, but he also has to make it an entire lap around this track as he tries to make the pass on the outside. And it looks like maybe Anthony Burrows will try something similar. He couldn't get around the 58 on the inside, so looks like he might be trying to make the move on the outside of the 58 here. Very, very, very awesome driving by these drivers to stay out of one another. Tons of traffic. It's absolutely impressive as they go 3 wide there inside of Daniel Hallis in the 72 Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters car. Anthony Burrows in the 62 finally makes the pass there on the 58 of Jonathan Schwartz and takes over that first position. So Anthony Burrows will get his lap led. Again, we've seen this entire season so far dominated by the likes of the 62 here, so we'll see if that pit strategy really does pay off for the 24 of Eric Wolf or not. And he's really going to have to pull away as he is just ahead of the 62 on an entire lap down. He's going to have to gain seconds and seconds and seconds as this race goes on. Eric Wolf posted a 29.767 on the last lap. He is having to fight through some traffic. 29.211 he posted on the last lap. So 29.681 by Anthony Burrows. He's not been much faster. So we'll see. Eric Wolf sits in 7th. Now that he has some clean track in front of him, he'll be able to make up some time on Burrows. And that's really what he needs. The 24 needs clean track. He needs to make these passes quick. He needs to make them clean. He just needs to get around these guys as quick as possible. We see Eric Johnson, Joseph Nover both come down. It looks like Johnson is taking a nice quick pit here, hoping, I would imagine, for a caution to come out at some point. Same thing with Kean Riley Howell. He also comes down pit road. These guys got to be hoping for a caution to come out towards the end of this race and be able to stay out on their tad bit older tires and maybe capitalize on some of the top few drivers making a pit stop. Tons of strategy definitely going into this. Eric Wolf now moves into the 5th position. Again, he's only got 20 laps on his tires. Mike Springer, who sits in 4th, only has 22 laps on his tires. Well, they're about 4 seconds apart right now, but they are still over 26 seconds behind the leaders. So Mike Springer's 22 seconds behind the leaders. Eric Wolf is 26 seconds behind the leaders. Those top 2 guys, Anthony Burrows, or top 3 guys, I'm sorry. Anthony Burrows in the 62, the 58 there, Jonathan Schwartz, and the 32 of Wade Hustad. They're the ones who pitted a little bit later, or a little bit earlier, I'm sorry, than Eric Wolf and Mike Springer. But they do have to make another pit stop, whereas Mike Springer and Eric Wolf do not. So what we're seeing right now out of Eric Wolf and Mike Springer, where they have to fight back towards this field to try to get up towards the front, that's the same thing we're going to see from Anthony Burrows and Jonathan Schwartz after they make their pit stops. They're going to be on much fresher tires than the rest of these drivers. They're going to have to fight their way back through, and we'll see who can do it the most efficiently. Now see the 55 there of Chad Presnall almost gets under the 58 of Jonathan Schwartz. Oh, and Presnall gets really, really loose. He rides right up into the rear bumper of the 58. Presnall currently sits in the 6th position, not far behind the 58 of Jonathan Schwartz. There you have it, fellas. Wade Hustad is now pulled down onto pit road. Currently getting his pit stop. We'll see how quick he can complete that. And he is off, leaving pit road. It is a rule here at Dynasty Racing League. These guys have to, it's a gentleman's league, so everybody has to pay respects to one another. You don't enter up onto that track until you've made it around that corner. Looks like Wade Hustad does that, gets himself back up onto the racetrack, and heads down the front stretch. follow back along the 58 there of Jonathan Schwartz in second position. The 62 of Anthony Burrows, who currently sits in first. Then again, you got Mike Springer in the 12. Eric Wolf in the 24. They sit in third and fourth position with half the amount of laps on their tires as some of these other drivers have. We're out there right now, so. Again, we cycled through some green flag pit stops here. Eric Johnson, who currently sits in fifth, he only has 7 laps on his tires currently. Wade Hustad, who sits in 7th position. Looks like he's going for the 2 pit stop strategy here. He just moved into 6th after the pass on Chris Doe for the 07. He only has 2 laps on his tires, so he's definitely going with a 2 pit stop strategy. If he can make it all the way to 156 without another pit, these guys go green the entire way. He stands a very good chance of winning this race. I think if Anthony Burrows and Jonathan Schwartz, if they were to make their pit stop a few laps earlier, they would be in a better position than they are now. I think Mike Springer and Eric Wolf are just going to be a little too quick to beat later after, you know, everybody has to fight back through this lap traffic. As you now see Anthony Burrows, he's coming down pit road. Looks like he's making this a pretty quick pit stop as he pitted too late, I think, the first time. This time seems just about right. Again, we're only going to see as time goes on where these guys come out and whether the 1-stop strategy works better or the 2-stop strategy works better. With Anthony Burrows coming down, I don't imagine it'll be too much longer until the 58. And there he goes. He pulls right down pit road as well. Well, it looks like he was headed into pit road a little quick there. Hopefully he didn't get a speeding penalty. Jonathan Schwartz, who just led a lap, collects those bonus points for leading a lap. And he comes down pit road as well. Anthony Burrows had an awesome pit stop. 14.67 seconds he spent on pit road. He gets off nice and quick. We'll see how long it takes him to fight his way back up to the front as he comes off in 7th position. Jonathan Schwartz headed off in the lead. Go down and look at his pit stop here. For some reason here with iRacing, they've introduced pit crews and pit crew animations and things like that. He gets a 15.8. For whatever reason, when I'm watching it, though, it doesn't allow me to see the pit crew. If you're live in the car, you can actually see what's going on. You see the pit crew run out. They, you know, lift the car, put the tires on, etc. But as an observer, it does not allow me to see that pit crew. The 58 does get his pit. He comes off in the 8th position. He's about not too far, actually, behind Anthony Burrows. You see Anthony, let's go. Rear chase. Yeah, you see the 58 back there. Not too far behind Anthony Burrows. So Jonathan Schwartz hopefully will be able to make that up over time. Catch back up to the number 62 of Anthony Burrows and maybe end up coming in second. Again, we're going to have to watch as this plays out. Mike Springer continues to lead this race in the Butterfinger 12 there. He has almost 4 seconds on Eric Wolf. So they're towards the end of that first cycle for Mike Springer and Eric Wolf. Springer passed Eric Wolf, and I don't know if it was a fuel-saving thing. I don't know if Eric got into a little bit of trouble, just couldn't hold on to the car as well as he thought he could. But if this thing goes green all the way, Mike Springer's looking for a payday. We're now 113 laps in out of 156 in the DRL Fastlane Cup Series at Phoenix. 250 awesome miles here tonight. We've had no cautions. There hasn't been a crazy amount of wrecking action and things like that some of the viewers might like to see at home, but the pit strategy that's gone on tonight is absolutely intriguing for, you know, anybody who's driven one of these cars and knows what it feels like to run around Phoenix with 30 or 40 laps on your tires. Definitely not an easy feat, and for everybody in this field of you know, 20+ drivers to keep their car on the track, keep it underneath them, and be able to do what they've done tonight is absolutely astounding. You now have Eric Johnson in the 21 car has pulled around Eric Wolf. So Eric Johnson definitely made a quick second pit stop. He only has 17 laps on his tires right now. So it looks like Eric Johnson might be going for a 3 pit stop strategy. We have somebody like Eric Wolf who was literally only going for a 1 pit stop strategy. I don't know how that's going to pay off in the long run. I don't know if Eric Johnson will be able to keep the car underneath him for the rest of this time, but Eric Wolf has given up another position. Seems like to me Eric Johnson has gone with a straight, you know, I'm going to run the car as hard as I can possibly run it, and I'm going to continue to come in for tires, and I'm going to see if it pays off in the long run, and see if I can get around this lap traffic as quick as possible and, you know, make the car work for me. Because he is, let's see, he's about 20 laps fresher tires than Eric Wolf, who sits in third. And he's also 20 laps fresher tires than Mike Springer, who sits in first. And Eric Johnson is quickly catching up to the likes of Mike Springer. Running almost a half a second faster than Mike Springer around the track right now. So, to me, it seems like Springer and Eric Wolf are going to have to make another pit stop at some point, or they're not going to stand a chance. Wade Hustad has also moved past Eric Wolf in the number 32 there. He has 15 laps on his tires, so he's in maybe even a better situation than Eric Johnson is as he heads up behind the 21. He ran about 0.2 seconds quicker than Eric Johnson did that last time by. Very interesting stuff, guys. We now have Anthony Burrows in the 62, who has pit twice already. He passed Eric Wolf. He only has 12 laps on his tires. Eric Wolf currently has 41 laps on his tires. And I don't know if this shakes out or not for Eric Wolf if he continues to stay out here. So Anthony Burrows only has 12 laps. He's only got about, 35 to go until the end of this race. And he's sitting in a much better position than Eric Wolf. So if Anthony Burrows doesn't pit again and he can keep the car under him, he's going to win, or he's going to finish ahead of Eric Wolf hands down. As Eric Wolf continues to run on these older tires, is the likes of Anthony Burrows going to pit again? Is Wade Hustad going to pit again? Is Eric Johnson, who now leads our race, just gets around Mike Springer in the 12, is he going to pit again? These guys that took the 2 pit stop strategy might be in a much, much better situation than Mike Springer and Eric Wolf, who have only pit once so far here at Phoenix. .124 laps in out of 156. Eric Johnson in the 21. We'll see if he can get around this lap traffic quickly enough. He gets around the 74 there of James Pandolf, but it doesn't look like the 85 of Brandon Dalton wants to give that up quite so easily. And you have nipping right at his heels Wade Hustad there in the number 32 car. Hustad's got 21 laps on the tires. Eric Johnson currently has 26. And then just behind them, nipping right at Wade Hustad's heels, what do you know? We have Anthony Burrows in the number 62. He's only got 16 laps on his tires. So right now looks like the pit strategy of Anthony Burrows has paid off thus far, but we'll see how things shake out towards the end of this race. You see the 42 of Josh Coppernall goes high, gets out of the way of some of these other drivers who were on the lead lap. And Anthony Burrows back down onto the apron as he's done every single lap throughout this entire race. Gets a nose underneath Wade Hustad and moves into the second position. Now there's one person left in front of Anthony. We'll see if he can overtake Eric Johnson here. There's about a 10-lap difference on the tires of these two cars, so he makes a move to the outside. And it looks like he's just able to get back into the gas early enough to take over the lead. So once again, we have the 62 of Anthony Burrows out front, leading another race here at the DRL Fast Lane Cup Series. This is the Phoenix 250, sponsored by Fast Lane Complete Car Care LLC. Oh, and the number 21 of Eric Johnson almost gets into the 32 there away to Hustad. Hustad does get around him, though. Another pass on the outside. Hustad only has about 5 lap fresher tires than Eric Johnson, so that surprises me that he was able to get around him as easily as he was there. Move back a little bit, the 12 there, Mike Springer. He still sits comfortably in 4th position. Jonathan Schwartz sits in 5th and 58. Kean Riley Howell sits in 6th position in the number 10. Eric Wolf sits in 7th position in the number 24 car. Chris Stover sits in 8th, the 07. Daniel Hollis, the first car a lap down in the number 72 Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters car. He sits in 9th. Brandon Dalton in the 85 sits in 10th. Dustin Muse 11th. Chris James in 12th. Aaron James in 13th. Mark Vega in 14th. Joseph Nover in 15th position. 16th position is owned by David Wright in the 4. He's 2 laps down. Joshua Wakefield 3 laps down in the 35. James Pandoff 4 laps down in the 74. Followed by Josh Coppernall in the 42. And David Wellborn Jr. sits in 20th position right now, 5 laps down in the number 96. That's the only people on the track at the moment. Chad Presnall is out of the race, 21 laps down. Blake Griffith is out of the race, 13 laps down. Zachary Smith is out of the race. I'm sorry, 27 laps down by Chad Presnall, 41 laps down by Blake Griffith. Zachary Smith is 56 laps down. Chris Torrance Jr., for whatever reason, he's been up over there on the pit lane. He's been in pit lane for 3,700 seconds. So he is sitting in the 24th position. He's 125 laps down. He didn't get the run this race. Don't know if he had connection issues or if there was some other problems there, but he is officially out of this race. So. Goes Anthony Burrows around the 07 of Chris Stouffer, who currently sits in 8th. That now puts Chris Stouffer a lap down and leaves only 7 cars on the lead lap. And currently in 7th place, wouldn't you know it, Eric Wolf there in the number 24. He still runs with 54 laps on his tires. If things continue the way they are, it's not going to work out for Eric Wolf like he had hoped. Again, he's got 54 laps on his tires. Anthony Burrows in the number 62 only has 26 laps on his tires, and he currently leads this race, followed closely by Wade Hustad with only 30. Is Eric Johnson with 36, Jonathan Schwartz with 25, and Mike Springer, the only other driver who is out there as long as Eric has actually about a lap and a half longer. He currently sits in the 5th. So, as things are running right now, so long as Anthony Burrows, Wade Hustad, Eric Johnson, and Jonathan Schwartz can keep the car underneath them, they stand a great chance of finishing in the top 4 just as things continue, so long as they're another caution. And there we see it. There is a caution flag. That's going to even this field, guys. This is very, very exciting. There are 7 drivers on the lead lap. It looks like Christopher is going to get the wave around here. I'll go back and see if I can't figure out exactly what happened. As we move through this field. See if I can't figure out who had an issue there, where it was, what happened. I apologize for the swapping camera right now. I'm going to go back and see if I can find out exactly what happened there. See anybody who's significantly slower than the rest. Wade Hustad pulls down. It's first down. Followed just behind by Wade Hustad, Eric Johnson, Jonathan Schwartz, Mike Spring, Kean Riley Howell, and Eric Wolf. So those are our top 7 drivers right now. They all come down pit. We'll see who can make the best pit stops and get off pit. It looks like that's kind of going to even the playing field here between our top 7 drivers. So it has been reported that Josh Copperman to spot. Back and see if we can see that. Yeah, we see the 42 just gets back into the gas a little bit too hard, slides up the track there. Luckily, gets back down towards that inside wall. Nobody runs into him. Gets back. His car. Good job by the 40 there at Joseph Hogan. Stay out of him. 35, the 85 of Brandon stayed out of the 40 Copperdome. So, great work on those guys' part. Once again, Anthony Burrows in the lead. Gets out of pit road first. Currently leads this race in the number 62. Just behind him is Eric Johnson in second. Jonathan Schwartz sits third in the number 58. Fourth is Wade Hustad in the number 32. Fifth, Kean Riley Howell in the number 10 car. The number 24 of Eric Wolf currently sits in sixth. So it looks like Eric Wolf beat Mike Springer off of pit road there. Christopher did get his lap back. He is now on pit road. Like Daniel Hallis, actually. It's going to be a... Let's see if Daniel Hallis is a lap down. It's not right now. I think Christopher definitely got the lucky dog, so he should come out and be able to capture that first position, that position just ahead. Daniel Hallis as he pulls off pit road. So right now we might have the 72 there of Hallis as the very last car on the lead lap. Brandon 85 is one lap. See Christopher right there. 66 there. Looks like Christopher will capture the 8th position. Daniel Hallis will be in 9th. Last car on the lead lap, and from 10th, 11th, and 12th, Durant Dalton, Dustin Buse, James, they all sit one lap down. Mark Vega in the 78 sits 2 laps down. Aaron James in the 66 also 2 laps down. Joshua Wakefield in 35, 3 laps down. David Wright, 3 laps down. 4 sits in 16th. James Pandolph in 17th position sits 4 laps down. First laps down. Goes with no 40. Josh Coppenall, 2 and did 96 and 20. We go back green. Anthony Burrows gets a nice quick jump off the line. Pretty much too wide right behind him. Eric Johnson wasn't able to make the move down bottom in front of the 58 of Jonathan Schwartz. So long as Schwartz can hold it down underneath his car, he will maintain his position. See the 10 dive way low on the apron. Oh, almost gets up there into the number 12 of Mike Springer. That was a very close call there by the number 10. Guys, I did talk about earlier, cautions tend to breed cautions here, so we're going to see these guys are starting to get impatient. There is only 16 laps left in this race, so Things are going to get heated, and they're going to get crazy here towards the end of this race. All of these guys giving each other a run for their money. You see the 32 of there, Wade Hustad. Thought he was going to get up into the 21 of Eric Johnson. Makes a little bit of a wiggle, scrubs off a ton of speed. And now we're going to see if Eric Wolf can get around him on the outside. You now have Anthony Burrows leading the race out front comfortably. Jonathan Schwartz in the 58 in second. Eric Johnson in the 21 in third position. Mike Springer sitting fourth in the number 12. The 32 of Wade Hustad sitting fifth. And Eric Wolf there in the Dunkin' Donuts number 24, our pole sitter. He currently sits in the sixth position. He did say in that pre-race interview he wanted the top 5 out of this, so we're going to see if he can go get it here from Wade Hustad. Lap 145 out of 156. We moved to lap 146 now. 10 laps to go for these guys. Oh, and Anthony Burrows gets a little loose coming out of that corner. The number 58 there of Jonathan Schwartz moves into first position. Capitalizes on a mistake by the 62 of Anthony Burrows. Anthony's most definitely not going to give him any leeway. Oh. And I think we had a disconnect by a driver. Kean Riley Howell. Looks like maybe he's fallen out of the race here. Not 100% sure what happened. I don't see any of these drivers coming down pit road for tires. Nobody would take the chance. If you're the number 1 guy, Jonathan 58, you might consider coming down pit road, but you would have to have the entire field follow you. To even feel remotely comfortable in the car. So I don't think Jonathan Schwartz will come down pit road, but who knows? Daniel Hallis, the number 72, he'll definitely be coming down pit road. He has 46 laps on his tires, so he stayed out last time around to get himself back onto the lead lap, and now all he's going to have is a few lap cars to fight through in order to get back to Josh Coppernall, or back to Chris Stouffer there in the 07. Currently sits in 7th. Maybe he can make up a couple positions here towards the end of this race with some fresh tires. It looks like, guys, we're going to have 4 or 5 lap shootout. Should be really, really exciting action here at the end of this race. I can't wait to see how this shakes out. Currently we have Jonathan Schwartz there in the number 58. Let's go look and see. He started in 4th position. He's currently running in first with a 43.86 I rating. Anthony Burrows, he started in 3rd position. Currently runs in 2nd. 46.61. 21 there of Eric Johnson. He started in 5th. He runs currently in 3rd position. He has a 41.78 I rating. As you guys see, Dustin Moser there in the 22 heads around the outside with the lucky dog. Mike Springer, he started in 8th position. He's now moved himself up into 4th. Awesome race by him all race long. Stuck out there as long as he could on that first green flag run, and made it work for him. He's now moved up into 4th. So Wade Hustad there in the 32. He has a 57.22 I rating. He started in 2nd. He's moved back just a little bit. Chris Stouffer in the 07. Wait a second. It's currently reporting him as 6th. I don't think he is currently 6th. So I think... Oh, maybe he is currently 6th. So you have Chris Stouffer there in the 07. Sits in 6th. Brandon Dalton in the 85. Oh, there it goes. So Brandon Dalton gets shuffled back. Stouffer's going to take 6th position, and Eric Wolf in 7th position. You guys should see Daniel Hallis come out in 8th. And then Dalton will come out in 9th. He stayed out to get his lap back. And then Dustin Muse collects the lucky dog. And then he will be in 10th position back on the lead lap. Finally, after collecting that lucky dog. And that's the last chance he's going to get, unfortunately. He is now going to ride in 10th position. Hopefully he can get around Brandon Dalton in the 85 for 9th. Does have 12 laps on his tires, as do the first 5 drivers in this race. But Christopher, Eric Wolf, Daniel Hallis, all 3 of them have fresh tires, and I think that's Eric Wolf's attempt at getting himself back into this race. He now has 12 laps fresher tires than these guys, and we're going to see on these couple laps around the track if he can make the pass. These guys are going to come around and collect the green flag here. We're going to see the pace car pull in any second. This is going to be super interesting. Eric Wolf has to do a lot of fighting. He's on that outside line there in the 24. You guys just saw him out there. He currently resides in 6th position. He's on brand new tires. So we're going to see if Eric Wolf really has what it takes to make this happen and fight his way back up into a top 5, if not a top 3, or the win. 5 laps to go. We go green here at Phoenix. The last thing Eric Wolf wants right now is a caution flag. Hopefully everybody drives this patient, but he's going to have to drive the wheels off of this car to get these positions back. As the 07 of Christopher goes inside. Oh, and another caution. No, that's the end of the race, folks. We might get one more lap under green here. That caution is the last thing Eric Wolf wanted to see. Looks like he's going to come across just behind Wade Hustad there. He's going to finish in the 6th position. A very, very interesting race we've seen so far here tonight. Jonathan Schwartz in the 58. He might win his very first race here with Dynasty Racing League. We're going to go around, collect these last few laps, see if these guys go green one more time. I have a feeling that is the end of the race here at Phoenix, but we'll see. Maybe they get the one-lap shootout. There is no, unfortunately, here in iRacing, we don't get to do the green-white checker thing. Hopefully that will be implemented in the years to come in iRacing. Definitely an issue as far as coding and things like that go for the developers to set all of that up, but I expect that to be the end of the race. That is the last thing Eric Wolf wanted to see, but unfortunate end to the race for him. Congratulations here to the 58 of Jonathan Schwartz. These guys come across lap 155 of 156. We'll see if they go up too wide. It does not look like it. It looks like they're going to stay single file here. So that is going to be the end of the race, ladies and gentlemen. The number 58 of Jonathan Schwartz is going to win it here at Phoenix, the Dynasty Racing League Fastlane Cup Series. Heck of an end to the race. I wish we would have got to see that race out there towards the end after all the green flag runs that we have. I did say that cautions do breed cautions here, and that's how it does end under caution flag. Jonathan Schwartz collects the win. Anthony Burrows in the 62 takes second. Eric Johnson takes third. Mike Springer takes fourth. Wade Hustad takes the fifth position, and Eric Wolf in sixth. These guys come around, they're going to collect the checkered flag here any second. They go around these last couple corners. Awesome racing. We had a lot of different pit strategies. A ton of things happened tonight. These top 5 drivers, all 5 of them were 18 laps on their tires. Eric Wolf took the pit there on that last caution. So did Daniel Hallis there in the 72. Both of them were trying to gain something there towards the very, very end of the race. And it ended up not working out for him as another caution came out to end the race. But, you know, that's how the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. So congratulations to 58 here of Jonathan Schwartz on the win. You see Anthony Burrows moves up on his bumper to give him a little tap. .58 there at Jonathan Schwartz, just wiggling left and right. Awesome win by him. These drivers are going to head down pit road, go back to the garage, and really think about what just happened. That was an extremely exciting race. I wish things would have shaken out a little bit better and allowed some of these drivers who took the crazy pit strategies like Eric Wolf and you know, Mike Springer to get a chance to race for the finish there. But awesome race at Phoenix. Congratulations to the top 3. Go back real quick and look at our standings. You see the 58 actually here, Jonathan Schwartz. We're going to watch him celebrate right across the start-finish line. Gets his donuts in, well-deserved donuts. Awesome race by the 58 there. Jonathan Schwartz hung around up front all race long. Didn't make the pass on Anthony Burrows, and, you know, after that mistake that he made, and collects himself a win as he burns out all the way down the front stretch, headed in reverse around the track. Started in the 4th position tonight. He has an I rating of 43.86. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we'll find out here in a minute when I go to an interview with Jonathan Schwartz if this is his first race with Dynasty Racing League. But, you know, I haven't seen him towards the front the last couple weeks. And tonight he came out here and showed us what he's made of. So, awesome job by him. Honestly, I hope this is his first race with us tonight because he deserves a win. He raced up towards the front all night long, and he capitalized on that one moment when Anthony Burrows made a mental mistake and kind of cost himself the race. So great job by Jonathan Schwartz. Let's take a look at the unofficial results here. Jonathan Schwartz finishes in 1st. Anthony Burrows in 2nd position. Eric Wolf takes 3rd, or Eric Johnson, I'm sorry, takes 3rd. Mike Springer takes 4th. The number 12, Wade Hustad takes 5th position. Eric Wolf takes 6th. Daniel Hallis takes 7th. Dustin Musel 8th. Brandon Dalton in the 85 takes 9th. He was, let's see, yeah, the 85 of Brandon Dalton takes 9th. Chris Stouffer takes 10th position. Chris James takes 11th in the 82. Last car on the lead lap was Chris James there in the 82. So we had 11 cars finish on the lead lap. Then you go to Aaron James in the 66 takes 12th. Mark Vega 13th. David Wright 14th. Joshua Wakefield 15th. 16th goes to David Wellborn, Joseph Noverton 17th, 18th to James Pandolf, 19th Joshua Coppernall, Kean Riley Howell, actually, after that unfortunate disconnect, was running awesome all night in the number 10 there. He finishes in 20th position. 21st goes to Chad Presnall, 22nd Blake Griffith, 23rd Zachary Smith, and then the rest of the guys, I think in this race, nobody else actually raced tonight. So those last few drivers, that's just people who happen to be in the room this evening. We do see Taylor Bowman there. He has the race control number. Mitchell Briggs didn't actually get a start, I don't think. He pulled into the pits after 1 or 2 laps, and then Chris Torrance, same thing goes for him. So awesome work by these guys this evening. Go down to Victory Lane and see if we can get a chat with Jonathan Schwartz. Jonathan Schwartz, do you got a copy, sir?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Hey, man, awesome win tonight. You stuck around up there for so long. There was so many different pit strategies this evening. Anthony Burrows made a little bit of a mistake there before that last green flag run, and you capitalized, man. How's it feel?
Oh man, it's amazing. It's my first race in the league it's been a while since I joined Dynasty Racing League, and I've been close to Anthony all night, and finally had a chance to capitalize on him. Fresh tires and a little small mistake at the end, but it feels great to be back in victory lane.
Yeah, I wanted to ask actually with these guys. I just told them a few minutes ago. I didn't know if this was your first race with us so far this season or not, but you come out here, very first race of the season, and you got a win out of it, man. Congratulations to that. I mean, do you think there as the race drug on, were you going to have to pit again if everything went green?
No, I would have been good to go. The two-stop strategy was working for us, and fresher tires was key to the game because the tire fall off was just so much here, probably 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah, it was astronomical. You had a couple drivers actually stayed out. So Mike Springer and Eric Wolf, they had only pit once.
Yeah, I'm good friends with Mike, so I was talking to him throughout the race. I didn't really know how the one-stop strategy was going to work for him, but happy we got the late caution. He was able to get it back up there.
Yeah, unfortunate there towards the end. Him and Eric Wolf both had an opportunity to race themselves back into that race right at the end. Mike Springer, I think, stayed out with 18 laps on his tires. Eric Wolf and Daniel Hallis were both sitting on only a couple laps before on that very last not the very last, the very last restart, right before that last caution came out. You had Eric Wolf and Daniel Hallis, both of them sitting in 6th and 7th position on fresh tires. So they had a chance actually to fight back into it. Unfortunate it ended the way it did, but you capitalized, man. You ended up coming out with the victory, and hopefully we'll see you again next week. You going to be around for the rest of the Cup Series?
Yes, sir. I plan on it.
Awesome, man. I hope to talk to you again next week. You want to give a shout out to anybody before you go tonight?
I definitely want to thank Dynasty Racing for letting me join them. It's been an honor racing with them. A lot of respect out there tonight. Secondly, I want to thank the company that I work for, Cortland Hearth and Hardware, for everything that they've given me and all the success that's led to me here.
Awesome, man. Hopefully we'll see you again next week, and good luck.
All right, thank you.
Now we're going to go ahead and pull in Anthony Burrows, who finished in 2nd. He started in the 3rd position. Looked like he had a good chance to win the race. He did make a mistake there late, so we'll get Anthony's thoughts on that. See if I can find him here. Anthony Burrows, you got a copy, my friend?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, I said at the beginning of this race, the season's been dominated by you so far. 2 pole positions, two first place finishes. You came out, you started 2nd tonight, or you started 3rd tonight. You finished in 2nd position. Looks like you had a good chance to win it there towards the end of the race. What happened? Did the car just get a little bit loose and you let Jonathan around you, or?
I honestly don't know what happened. I was driving it about the same every lap. I didn't really do anything different there. It snapped on me out of nowhere. Luckily, I didn't spin the car out, but I was pretty close to it, and that's really what gave the win away.
Yeah, I can't believe we didn't see more of that than we did tonight. We were green for so long with the whole field. It was all over the place. You didn't know who was where, and some guys went with a one-stop strategy. I think the likes of Eric Johnson, who finished in third, was going with a two or a three-stop strategy. I think you yourself and Jonathan Schwartz, who finished in first, you guys were kind of on a two-stop strategy. So I couldn't. Honestly, I couldn't make it out. I couldn't tell who was doing what, and things were absolutely crazy tonight. But you look like you were leading the race healthily, and then you kind of gave it away. But again, I expected more of it tonight. Stinks that it happened to you towards the end of the race there, but you do come out with a second place finish. You are leading our point standings. Congratulations on that. You got a shout out you want to give to anyone or anybody you want to thank for being in the position you're in right now?
Yeah, huge shout out to everyone in that race for racing clean. That was one of the most fun races I've ever had, to be honest. Just all the strategies and all that. And shout out to you for putting on the broadcast tonight, and all of them for putting on this league.
Well, thanks for joining us, Anthony. Sorry it didn't work out in the end, man, but congrats on the second place finish, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, buddy. Now we're going to bring in Eric Johnson, who finishes in third position in the number 21. See if I can find him real quick here. I'm right in. Eric Johnson, you got a copy, my friend?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, buddy, third place finish for you. Tons of strategy going on this evening. You started in fifth, you finished in third. How stiff is the competition out there, man?
Yeah, man, it was tough. I had nothing for some of those guys, so I decided to change things up and get them on pit strategy. And thought it was going to work out, but at the end, it kind of messed up my last stop.
Yeah, it looked like you were trying to pit 3 times. Is that the case?
Yeah, that was the plan. And then just that last stop, I pitted a couple laps a little sooner than I wanted to. It kind of hurt me.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of the guys. So we had 2 guys, Mike Springer and Eric Wolf. Both of them were only going to pit 1 time, which to me seemed crazy. I didn't know, who was going to pit twice. And then when I saw you come in as early as you did, I was like, whoa, he's going to pit 3 times. So for you to pull off the third place after, the cautions came out there towards the end, I don't think you could have asked for much better. But honestly, after it went green as long as it did you really expect those cautions towards the end of the race, or?
No, I thought we're going to go green the rest of the way, but I kind of needed that last caution after I got passed and was in third. So I'm kind of glad it came out.
Right, congrats again on the third place finish, man. I know you're doing really well so far this season. Haven't been able to get that coveted victory so far, but hopefully we'll see that next week. How comfortable are you going to be next week at Auto Club?
It's a pretty good track for me, so I hope to at least get a top 5, if not the win. But man, these guys are tough.
Awesome, man. Congrats again. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before you go tonight?
Just everybody with Dynasty Racing League and Fast Lane Complete Auto Care.
Thanks, Eric. Have a good night, man.
Thanks.
Now, somebody, let's see here. Somebody I want to bring in. I want to talk to Mike Springer, and then we're going to bring in Eric Wolf, and we're going to see what these guys were really thinking with this one pit stop strategy. Let's see if I can find Mike Springer around. I don't think he is. Mike Springer is no longer around, but we are going to bring in Eric Wolf and talk to him. He was our pole sitter. We interviewed him before the race, and we'll see what he has to think about this race. He does finish in 6th position. Eric Wolf, do you have a copy, my friend?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Hey, man, you started in first. I interviewed you before the race started there on the pole position. Crazy strategies going on tonight. I didn't know, before that very first caution came out, which was, forever into the race. It seemed like, we were going to go green to the end. You were only on a 1 pit stop strategy. Did you think after getting past as early as you did, I think it was around lap 130 or so, you got passed by a couple guys. Did you think they were going to pit one more time? Were you planning on pitting one more time, or what was the thought there?
Negative. No, I knew that once I got past there, the race was over. It was just a strategy I was trying out to see if it would work out, and it fell through pretty hard, rock bottom.
Yeah, you guys, I couldn't even believe everybody. You're one of the better drivers in the league. That point's been proven time and time again. But for every single driver on the track to keep it as clean as they did tonight and actually keep the car underneath them was so impressive. Uh, for me, it seemed like uh, there towards the end of the race, I thought maybe we would see another pit by those guys. But then when the caution came out, you got fresh tires. Daniel Hallis got fresh tires in the 72. Do you think if we would have raced it clean towards the end, you had about a 10 to 12 lap advantage on those top five guys? Do you think you could have got a couple positions back?
Yeah, I would have got a couple of them back. I don't know if I could have won the race, but I was looking forward to a top three maybe. But it didn't work out that way. But that's just part of racing. Everybody's going for it there at the end. But yeah, I was licking my chops there on that final restart.
Yeah, and I kind of focused on that just a little bit, saying, Eric Wolf, he's going to be charging hard, but it makes it tough and I knew that was coming. I told all of the viewers that that's what it was going to come down to. The cautions tend to breed cautions, and then if it comes out towards the end of the race, that's when everybody's really hungry for those positions, and it's unfortunate to see it end the way it did. You finished just outside the top five, but how do you feel about Auto Club next week? I know you like that track.
Yeah, I love Auto Club. I gotta get some practice in to get the balance of the car right when I'm driving it. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really fun race. I'm really looking forward to that one. Yeah, it is one of my favorite tracks.
Awesome, man. Well, we'll see you next week. You want to give a shout out to anybody before I let you go?
Yeah, just everybody in this whole race did a fantastic job. I don't know. I mean, every person I went up to, if I was faster than them, they'd give way. Whenever I was faster, they passed real clean. Everybody raced predictably. Anthony raced me really hard there for the lead. I think he had me on speed, but I mean, he never gave me the bumper or anything. Just a lot of respect out there tonight.
Awesome, man. Well, congrats again on sixth place, and we'll see you again next week.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
All right, have a good night. All right, guys, I think hopefully I have one other person to pull here. Hang on just a second. See if he's around. Messaging him right now, see if I can get him in here for a quick interview. I'll give him just a second to respond. I think I'm going to pull in David Wellborn, who actually finished in the 16th position. I was hoping to get him into the broadcast booth this evening. I'm going to pull him in real quick and give another driver an opportunity to pop up on Discord. Maybe I can pull him in afterwards. Let's see here. David Wellborn finishes 16th. He started 24th. Did gain some positions there. Hey, David Wellborn, you got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, brother, I got you.
Hey, man, tough race out there this evening. You did finish four laps down in 16th position, but you kept the car clean, man. What's it like racing out there once the tires get a little bit old?
Well, I set up a 4-hour practice this afternoon, and I set it up for 19 track temperature, just so that I would be comfortable out there tonight. Believe it or not, I messed myself up with that first pit stop. I sped coming out of the pits, and that's what those many laps down. But I heard the broadcast, and you're talking guys are coming in and doing one pit stop, maybe two pit stops. That's insane. I didn't want to be out there no more 40, 45 laps on my tires. But I got to say, I would have liked to have been up in the booth and wrecked out early, but I had to disappoint all my fans tonight, because I had a crew chief this afternoon to help me out, keep my car up underneath me. We made a lot of changes to my rig to set up for tonight. I want to give a big thanks to every one of the drivers out there tonight. They did an awesome job. If you'd have told me we was going to go 130 some laps without a yellow flag, I'd have said you were crazy. But I know y'all had an awesome job up there in the booth tonight.
Yeah, I felt the same way, man. It was absolutely crazy watching those guys go that many laps and keeping it green. And the field mixing up as much as it did. You never knew if the guy behind you was on fresher tires, if he was just faster than you. You kind of had to judge, and that's where I like Dynasty Racing League as a family. Everybody kind of knows who's really, really good, who is mediocre, who's not the greatest, whatever. You know what I mean? And you didn't really know. You know what I mean? Sometimes a guy who you didn't feel like was much better than you is coming up on you hot, and you go, "Well, does this guy have fresher tires, or is he just driving the wheels off the car?" And there was so many different pit strategies and a lot of stuff going on tonight, and it was an absolute pleasure to watch you guys out there. You get the 16th place finish. You did all right for yourself. You definitely didn't wreck yourself out like we saw a ton of last night in that Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters Grand National Series. So,
Amen.
congratulations on keeping the car under you, man, and finishing the race. And hopefully we'll see you again next week, buddy.
Yeah, I just got one more thing to say. With these gentlemen, this is a nice class characters. They come in here in this league. They show us night after night what the Cup Series is about. Again, I got to give a hats off to James Pandolf, Tater Bowman, all the broadcasters, the admins, everybody that puts in work behind DRL TV. It's just an awesome family thing here. And again, I appreciate you jumping up in here and let me give this interview. I'll let you see if you can't get back to the real guy that you want to interview.
No problem, man. I was going to try to talk to Spencer Tart tonight. There is a Dynasty Racing. Anybody who's not 100% familiar, Spencer Tart is actually with Dynasty Racing. He's been racing with us for quite some time, and he has not only is there an Indy series starting up on Thursday nights, there's also a dirt series starting on Fridays, and Spencer Tart's going to head that up. He wanted to come in briefly and talk a little bit about that, but I haven't been able to contact him here on Discord in the last few minutes, so he didn't get an opportunity to speak much. But anybody who's watching, anybody who runs on the iRacing simulator, uh, please, get in contact with us if you guys want to be a part of that. If you want to be a part of any other the series here at Dynasty Racing League, definitely willing to, entertain anybody who wants to join us. We definitely have much more competition this year in all three series than we did in the single series that we ran last year. So it's been impressive. I've said it multiple times. I'll say it again. We've kind of developed into a little family here at Dynasty Racing League, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Um, I'm gonna move in and show you guys the standings one more time, and we're gonna get on to what's left as far as this broadcast is concerned, and we will see you back again here next week. Thanks for joining me, David. You have a good night, man.
Anytime. Yeah, anytime, man. I just wished I'd wrecked out early because that was hot up underneath that PR all night long.
Yes, it was.
I actually burnt myself with a cigar as I was coming in pit road trying to light it up. But you have a good night and sign off with these fellas, and I'll jump down here in the league committee.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
Uh-huh.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to, let's see, hi, David Wellborn there. And we are going to pull up the unofficial results one more time. You guys can go through those real quick. Jonathan Schwartz in his very first race with the DRL ends up finishing in first. Anthony Burrows, as per the rest of the season's gone thus far and all of last season when he finishes in second position, absolutely dominating so far this year. He leads the point standings. Eric Johnson finishes in third. You guys can check out the rest of the standings for yourself here. Next week, we will be back live on Tuesday night, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. I know that says Ryan Branch and Martin Wenzel down there in the bottom left-hand corner. Again, Martin has had to make an emergency trip to the Americas. He actually comes to us live from China every week. He has to come over here to America to deal with some issues that he is having, but he will be back hopefully in a couple weeks. Again, huge thanks to him for all of the graphics and things that go on. He will continue to do that. The broadcast will be just as good as it was tonight, last night, tomorrow night's going to be, etc. All throughout these couple weeks while Martin is away from us. He will continue to make those graphics. Huge thanks to him. I'm going to pull up some credits here. You guys see, James Pandolf, Tater Bowman, those guys, they're the owners of the league. They got everything going last year with the Dynasty Racing League Cup Series. It was sponsored by the Navy Chiefs last year, all thanks to Tater Bowman. He put up the money to get that action going last year. Graphics, Martin Wenzel, again, I just spoke of him. Jordan Gonzalez, he's the one that works with all these, actually getting the graphics from graphic mode onto the screen, so you guys can actually see all of these credits and the things displayed out here. So thanks to Jordan Gonzalez, he also, with all the marketing that he does, finding sponsors for us, etc. The broadcast booth, myself this evening, Daniel Hallis, Chris James, David Wellborn, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. You guys will see Chris James, or actually you'll see Daniel Hallis and Taylor Butcher Benjamin tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. They will come to you live for the Winona Road Truck Series here at DRL TV. And you'll see David Wellborn and Chris James. They'll come to you live next Monday night for the Northeast Ohio Ghostbusters. They'll be at Auto Club as well. So huge thanks to everybody involved with the DRL, all the drivers that attend every week. Awesome race tonight. I can't wait to see what DRL has in store. This is only race 4 out of 36 this season. And thank you to everybody for tuning in. And hopefully we'll see you back again next week. Next Tuesday night, 9:30. My name is Ryan Branch. Thanks again, guys, here from Phoenix. Have a good night. Signing off.